If I'm being completely honest, I think that the thing that made him so tall was that he understood how to speak to India and Britain at exactly the same time. And so when he's dressing as a kind of, in his loincloth, as Churchill says, dressed as a fakir, and with this, non-violent philosophy, he is both, appearing to the Indian public as a guru within that mold that we see even today. At the same time, he is someone who's spent time in London and is deliberately playing up the sort of almost Jesus-like image of kind of, turn the other cheek. And he's playing to both British perceptions and Indian perceptions at the same time. He did create an enormously large tent for all of the different followers from different religions and castes, etc. And there's all sorts, as we all know. There is all sorts that is very controversial about him. He says all sorts of things about Dalits. There's all those kind of, sexual experiments with his, where he's lying in bed with relatives and that kind of thing. But I think that what makes him extraordinary is ultimately, to me, it's everything that he does between 1946 and his death, when he single-handedly manages to stop the partition furies. And you can see it in the letters. There's absolute bewilderment that everyone in the subcontinent is at each other's throats, and wherever he goes, the violence stops. And there is no other politician in South Asia who manages to do that. Jinnah doesn't manage to stop the riots in Karachi. Nehru does not manage to stop the riots going on in Delhi, whereas Gandhi does. And I think that that is important. He also understood PR and the power of radio and the power of television. And for all that he is made out to be this kind of, ascetic monk, etc., he understood technology. The reason that we've got so many photographs of his Salt March is because he invited the entire world press to be there. Whilst he is, going there, and I think it's Sarojini Naidu who wrote, it costs so much to keep the man in poverty. So, he understood public perception, he understood how to work an electorate just as much as he understood all of these other things. And I think he was also charming and funny. And I think that goes a long way. And I think is one of the key differences between him and Jinnah, for example. Sarojini Naidu likewise writes that, she writes about being infuriated with both of them because she's very close to both Gandhi and Jinnah. And she writes that occasionally with Jinnah, you need a fur coat now and again because he's such a cold presence to be in. Whereas Gandhi is absolutely infuriating, but he's rather funny. Also, I think he lived his philosophy in a way that few other politicians have or have done since. So, he wasn't just telling people to be ascetic, he was being ascetic himself. He wasn't just telling people to kind of, go and boycott these goods, but then going back to his nice mansion and living off all of this stuff. He very much lived the philosophy he preached. And this is something that has really set him apart. He was not creating an unrealistic expectation. He was living everything that he asked people to do himself. And I think the ways in which he combined, Hindu Sanskrit philosophy with modern politics is something that's kind of unrivaled.